It's 7 o'clock. It's time to start the show. Hello, comrades. Hi. Hi, baby. Hello, comrades, and welcome to another episode of Under Construction. That's what this show is. Thank you for joining me today. It is the 11th of July. It's 7-Eleven. Oh, it's like slushy day or whatever, right? Anyway, today we're doing the same thing we're always doing. We're working on Tolbrand. I don't know why I feel like I needed a long intro for this. I do this every week. Most people know what's going on. In fact, I need to actually drop the link in the Discord for everybody. If you're watching this and you don't know that I have one of those, you should jump in it. It's in the chat. Um, Also, check out our website, theironhorseman.com, where you can buy our unique line of steam locomotive trading cards. Check it out. Check us out. Check them out. Yeah, I'm gonna go and start the pre-show, which of course is to play not Tetris, or to not play Tetris, as it were. I think I say that every single time. I have to think about what I'm doing though. Hello, Jersey. Just gonna put that right there, and then that there, and this here. We're just winding up, getting ready to start the show for real. Actually, I do have stuff that I could talk about today. I mean, I've got gaming shenanigans. There's the current season of Loco Royale, which has been really exciting. The current open TTD server in the Discord is ending. Like during this live stream, I believe it's going to hit 2050 and end, and the version after that is going to be a super duper slow one where it goes like 2 years per real life day. And I'm really excited about that. It's going to be completely unbalanced chaos, but it'll be what it is. I threw in as many new GRFs as I could reasonably fit or get to work together. There are some things where you would be genuinely surprised how picky certain new GRFs are. I learned that one of the biggest sets that has rail vehicles, I believe it's called like the Iron Horse Pack or something like that. No, I didn't name it. Is incompatible with inflation. Um, and I'm not going to make any weird fetish jokes. The inflation setting in the game, it makes it so that over time your costs grow a little bit faster than your revenue. Like it's based on the interest rate that you set at the beginning of the game. Hello, Orion. The interest rate for loans. And that's not going to fit, is it? Oh, it did. Awesome. And you can make that worse, but then you really screw things up if you run into the 2050s. Inflation will start in 1920 if you have it turned on, and it'll go from there. It'll add, I believe the lowest interest rate you can have is 2%. So you can add 2% every year to the sort of costs of running the railroad, and the money you get back, the revenue will increase at almost that amount. You can probably read the wiki if you really want the nitty-gritty on that. But I really didn't think that the new GRFs, the actual assets that are coming with I hesitate to call them mods because I don't want them to be confused with actual mods. Hello, Brian. There are some that will just straight up say, "Hey, you have to turn off inflation," and that's one of them. The Iron Horse Pack, and I was excited to use it, or I was at least excited to look at what it had to offer. And the reason I'm not just going to write it off and say, "Hey, well, I guess we just can't use the inflation. We'll just so I can pack more new GRFs in," is because that inflation is instrumental in ensuring that the game gets harder over time. If not, the people who take over the world immediately, the people who get on first, like, yeah, they have a leg up anyway, but it means your money is always worth the same. And when you have bajillions of dollars, which you will, almost certainly, OpenTTD is not a game where having bajillions of dollars is necessarily particularly difficult. Most tycoon games, I would I would argue, are not. They don't have what you might call like rigorous balancing mechanics, where the game gets harder based on how good you're doing. You know, not every game is Homeworld 2. Um, in this case, it doesn't get harder based on how good you're doing, but it does get harder over time. And there's no other mechanic like that. There's like genuinely, there's no other mechanic like that that you can bring into the game. There are scripts that do something like that. There are scripts that really change the game, make the goals different, make the gameplay different. The thing is, I can't swap out scripts. And the reason is because the one we have holds back industry generation. The bigger your map is in OpenTTD, the more rapidly industries will automatically generate. And once you get into a map that's like 1 kilometer by 2 kilometers, even, which is not very large, you're generating tons of industries. You're generating like 2 a month at least, if I remember right. That's a number that I pulled out of nowhere, but you're generating a lot of industries. And over time, it will come out to an absurd number of industries. Your map will be choked with industries. Even on an industry set where you have a huge variety, it becomes a problem very quickly. Even if you start off with very, very few industries on the map, it still becomes a problem. And then it just makes the early game really hard. So the script that we have right now is the only one that I've found so far. Hello, East. The script that we have right now is the only one that I've found so far that... Alright, East is having a normal one. I'm doing great. The only one that I've found so far that actually actively limits industry generation unless a certain threshold is met. Now, you can just turn off industry generation altogether, but I actually want there to be some spontaneously generating industries so that there are always new connections available for people who either, aren't there from the very beginning, which, is not an unusual thing to have happen and not something that I would even necessarily try to avoid. But so that if you go bankrupt and you have to start over again, you have new opportunities. And, of course, that new opportunities are spontaneously generating, continuously generating, to make the game more interesting, beyond just the millions and millions of dollars that you can spend to generate an industry yourself. Now, of course, the thing is that, all right, well, that's the end of that. Well, we didn't get a high score this time. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's jump into route layer. Let's start thinking about what we have to do today. Part of me wanted to do industries, like set up industry tracks and stuff, but we are so far from needing to do that I don't even think it's worth it. I don't even think it's like worth investing the energy into that yet. In fact, I think what we should probably be doing is putting down some walkways for these houses, because they just face out the back here, and then maybe driveways for the other end. But yeah, what I was saying was, what the new or what the script really allows me to do by just throttling the amount of industries that are generated is really crank up the cost of making one's own industry, of prospecting or building a brand new industry. Because if you were to stop industries from naturally generating, the only way to get more industries on the map would be the manual creation of industries. And then you don't really want to put a huge hurdle on that, because you want people to be able to sort of build out their industry chains from scratch. One of the things that struck me as an idea was there's a new setting that allows the game to only generate uh, primary industries, so only generate coal mines and sand pits and oil wells and things like that, and it won't automatically generate any of the follow-on industries, any of the secondary or tertiary, anything down the line. You've got to build those all yourself, and I thought that was very interesting. However, it means that until someone wrangles up the cash, and I'm still tempted to try it, maybe not right away, but I'm tempted to try it in the future. Until somebody wrangles up the cash to put down an industry, no one's going to be making any money off of anything that isn't either passengers or uh, like bringing coal directly to towns, like super early game Railroad Tycoon 3 vibes, right? So that's not necessarily ideal. Now, in an ideal world, what it would do would be to encourage people to work together and pool their money and start building out industry chains. And then when someone kicks the bucket, if somebody kicks the bucket from that point, which isn't something that is a guarantee, but it does happen. Um, then you have industries that are, a set of industries that are probably fairly close together that are just kind of, languishing, lying around, that aren't doing anything, that someone else can jump in and connect to. It would also mean that the quantity of industries on the map, all told, would probably be fairly small. And you could set the industries to generate. Uh, you could set the industries to generate uh, at a much higher percentage of industries served. So you could say like, oh, you have to be using half of the industries on the map for it to generate more, but then um, it'll only generate you more primary industries. So that it's interesting. It changes the game quite substantially. Um, it goes from connecting what's already there to building out a network, pretty much no matter what. And if you're, the thing is, then there are much fewer opportunities for people to jump in later on, because most of the industries that are there are going to be industries that somebody else has built, has spent money on, and they have a vested interest in sort of keeping those to themselves. So it's not an ideal solution by any stretch of the imagination. I wouldn't even really call it a solution. It's not. It's not. It's not a solution. It's not helping anything. Um, hold on. Oh shoot. Okay. So I think we definitely need to fix the ground underneath these. What about this one? Oh man, that's not good. Well, you know what? I think I just have to go with it and then re-lower the ground over there. Smooth ground under selected, because having that the right way around over there is on that side is too damn important. So grab this, do this. 3-foot triple dome tank car works in 1.5.1 scale. In 1.5.1 scale works kinda. Okay. I want to apply this. Oh shoot, I've sunken the benches. Okay, I think we need a lower radius and maybe a lower sensitivity too, because yeah. Are the benches still floating? What is this one doing? It's hovering. Okay. Yeah, these benches are all floating. Uh, I think is falling water isn't any higher, is it? Like, I noticed that it moved a little bit, but it didn't move that much, did it? It would have only gone up but not down, right? So I think it's fine. Um, I'm going to get rid of this, and then I'm going to lower these guys into position again, and hopefully I won't have to mess with the terrain in this corner in the future. Okay, there's this. I'm not sure I meant to put these right on the edge, but it works. What is this one? +3. Okay, so these are all going to be different heights, huh? Okay. Okay. So this is not the worst thing that I've seen. It's not ideal, but it's not terrible. Actually, I think we should jump into Surveyor 2.0 and pull... There's not a spline point in here somewhere, right? No. We should pull the sidewalk, or the walkways out a little bit, just so that they're all definitely contacting this. Okay. There we go. This ground is a little bit lumpy, I'm realizing. I don't know if that's ideal. I don't know if that's good, as a matter of fact. Um, but it's not necessarily unrealistic. It would just be kind of a pain in real life. I mean, if you look at this, you sort of recognize that the way these fences are sloped, it shows you that these houses are kind of in a divot. These people all have water infiltration in their basements. That's the God's honest truth, as you might say. Um, it sucks. We probably should grab. Well, I don't know what to grab exactly for these driveways. Now, part of me just says use texture and fill in this whole back area with gravel, but I don't really like that. We could do some we could do some gravel road as driveway, like what we have over here. But it's a little bit too wide, but the actual like driveway that we have is asphalt. The driveway spline that we've been using. So we're a little stuck. We're a little stuck. I'm sure there is a gravel driveway spline somewhere. We're gonna have to figure that one out though. Do we have the shrub spline is in here? Yes, yes. Yeah, this house is abandoned. Oh wow, those really take up the whole yard there. That's fine. Okay. Well, what can we use? What can we use? Can we use the search filter and find something gravel related? Something gravel adjacent. Path gravel. So you know, in actual model railroad settings, folks always talk about selective compression. I may have amped that on my Minecraft world on PlayStation. So selective compression is genuinely speaking, it is something that's important for model railroading, right? Hello, Mew. Um, because unless you have a very large space or a very small scale, you're not going to fit your whole. That's way too big. You're not going to fit your whole railroad, your whole prototypical railroad, in. Oh, these aren't bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Especially it's narrow enough. Let's just go with this. It's easy enough. Yeah, unless you have a very small railroad or a very large space or a very small scale, even then, you're not going to fit a whole railroad in your model railroad space, right? That's something that is an important tenet. Hello, Pat. It's an important tenet of model railroad building. Uh, you want to have just enough space between your yards that you can have some good scenes. You can feel like you have left one yard before you enter the next. And that is something that people do in train simulators too. Trainz route building, selective compression is, I almost want to say, a scourge. It's a problem. It's not a good, sort of way to build a railroad. Unless, I mean, you can build a railroad like that. It's not a bad way to build a railroad, but it's not a realistic way to build a railroad. You guys know me. I try to shy away from the idea of good and bad. There is no such thing as a perfect Trainz route. And really, in some respects, as long as you get what you're going for, there's no such thing as a bad Trainz route. It's about hitting your goals. If your goal is to build a big realistic route, but there's only a couple of tiles in between your yards, then you haven't achieved your goal. But if your goal is to build sort of a Trainz analog of a model railroad, not a Trainz map that looks like a model railroad, but something that is buildable, right? It's not, it's not really a problem per se. Um, when I started off with this project, I wanted to build something realistic, and that's guided me, and that underscores a lot of my principles and a lot of the things that I espouse when it comes to Trainz route building. I talk about having these big runs in between towns, and I talk about, you know, the third most important thing, which is to make sure that you've got enough residential space for your industries. Make sure your towns are realistically big, right? Now, that's the third most important thing. Now, I don't know if that's actually the third most important thing. I've never sat down and, yes, Pat, I'm very excited for you to be in my neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? Uh, the, so, yeah. The most important thing, I think, the most important thing in Trainz route building is to respect water. And that's a really weird thing to say, but if you can respect water, your geography is going to be right. And if your geography is right, then a lot of other things are going to fall right into place. Because railroads are built with respect to geography. Worlds, towns, cities, everything is built with respect to geography. It is underratedly essential to respect water. Because water is the reason that anything is anywhere. My goal in life is to build the entirety of the RBMN in N scale with T-track modules. It would be over 1 real-life mile long from end to end. Well, I'm sure you could just wind that nicely into a warehouse. N scale, huh? Yeah, I mean, N scale's a good gauge for getting the most out of your space. Yeah, hydration is important. Drink water, right? N scale is a good scale for getting the most out of your space. It is in a really good spot these days. It's in a really good spot these days with regard to the quality of stuff that's being manufactured for N scale. It's no longer sort of like HO scale's little brother. There's a lot of care and detail in N scale models. You can get a lot of good stuff these days. Yeah, and Ryan points out that in Minecraft, water doesn't follow the sort of the rules of geography or the rules of water, and that's true. It's Minecraft water has always been interesting to me. There was a mod back in the beta days for finite water, which was probably my favorite mod for a while. And there are still some finite. I believe there is at least one finite liquid mod out there for like 1.12.2 or more recent, but the old school finite water mod was lightning in a bottle to me. I thought it was amazing. Um, Quality with the exception of Bachman. I mean, Bachman is Bachman. It's it's thoroughly. It's always been thoroughly okay to me. Um, but if your model's falling apart, yeah, that seems like a warranty issue. That's no good. Okay, I'm just gonna keep doing this, I guess. I just want to be at the point where I can move on to the next block of houses, and I know this one is not very well detailed, and it probably deserves another scenery pass. It deserves me coming through and like putting down some fruit trees or whatever, like trees in yards and things like that. I don't think that's gonna happen. But yeah, they want to charge you $50 to fix an out of the box problem. That's no good. Yeah, no, that's we should we should always ask for, demand as consumers, good warranties behind these products. Uh, and I can definitely. I don't usually buy stuff, right? I bought my first locomotive in like 6 years the other day. I don't usually buy stuff, and the stuff that I have, I don't usually run too much. I wouldn't call myself a connoisseur by any means, um, but I think of the people I've talked to, almost everyone has been burned by uh, every manufacturer under the sun in some way, shape, or form. But having a warranty that at least lasts a little while, right? At least lasts a little while, says more about your own faith in your product than much else. You know, um, yeah, more money via planned obsolescence. I really don't like planned obsolescence being thrown around as just like a yeah, everything's planned obsolescence as like a boogeyman, right? There is so much that it isn't planned. Like people love to label things planned obsolescence when stuff gets old and everything has a lifespan. Like it just doesn't strike me as much of a boogeyman as everyone seems to be convinced that it is. I know that's a weird thing to say, but what I guess I'm getting at is that if you really think about it, everything has a planned obsolescence. Everything has a lifetime. Even even highway bridges are built to withstand, however many decades. And it might be a long time, but just because things have an expected lifespan doesn't mean it's planned obsolescence. It just means that after a certain amount of time, they don't expect this thing's going to work anymore. And you have to give respect to that. Uh, you have to give respect to that because if you don't, as a manufacturer, you're going to make something where the price point is unacceptably high. And I don't I don't necessarily disagree about product lifetime trending down, but it's it's hard to firmly agree without any data because some folks and I've said this more than a couple times, but some folks probably know about bathtub theory. And bathtub theory is that if you look at sort of a graph of when stuff breaks, right? If you look at a graph of when stuff breaks, the stuff that is new in box, or the stuff that is brand new, you're going to have stuff that has manufacturer's defects. You're going to have stuff that is just sort of not working properly, imperfect from the manufacturer, and that's going to break pretty early. So you've got 100% of stuff, and some of it breaks kind of early. So you have, or well, I should say 100% of stuff, but no, we're looking at the rate of change, right, or the rate of when stuff breaks. And so you have a lot of stuff that breaks right away, and then it tapers off a little bit as the stuff that was manufacturer's defects and issues and things like that is all weeded out pretty quickly because that stuff is going to break. and then there's a long period where not too much stuff breaks, and then things start hitting their like proper lifetime, and boom, you see it come back up as things start breaking. Now we think about like, oh, they don't make them like they used to anymore, but it's really hard not to get caught up in survivorship bias when your only real points of reference, aside from people doing effectively hardcore data studies, right? Your only real points of reference are looking at the things that survived, you know? And I'm not necessarily so firmly on one side or the other. Things have definitely come down in quality because it's easier, because of machining tolerances, because of things like that, because of new materials, and because of better machines. Hi, Yankee. We can make stuff. Like we can build consumer products way cheaper than we ever have been able to in the past. You know, a uh-oh, what happened? Oh, there we go. A refrigerator, right? A refrigerator, on balance, costs a lot less nowadays than it did back then. And that is a number. That is something that I made up. A refrigerator is an example. I don't know that for certain. If you want to prove me wrong, I welcome anyone to try. I would love to. I would love to have somebody crunch numbers on this. But so the theory goes, right? Sort of observations. Um, Consumer goods are cheaper now than they ever have been. 1 to 1. And because of that, or sort of, because of that, there's what is effectively a race to the bottom. People are most often going to buy based on price point instead of quality. And I know that's, you know, well, I'm obviously going to buy it because of quality, blah, blah, blah. But no, like, if you walk into a store, you don't have infinite money. If you're, like, if we're talking about models, it's a little less so, but if we're talking about consumer goods, stuff that everybody has to buy, right? The dollar cost, excuse me, the dollar cost of a consumer product, but like a necessary consumer product, is going to matter a lot more than how long that thing is maybe projected to last, because you don't know if it's actually going to make it that long. That's part of it. You don't know if it's going to make it that long. The prediction of quality is not necessarily an indication of quality. The prediction of a long lifetime doesn't necessarily you're going to get that whole lifetime out of it, especially if you've got something like, especially in the face of bathtub theory. But I don't want to get too in the weeds about this. Yes! Virgo! Virgo's going to run 40 at the Valley Railroad. That's exciting. The 2816 model won't be released until December. Since I want to paint and match all the Empress cars, that gives me 5 months to just buy cars and do little to nothing with them. That's kind of funny. No, so what the hell was I saying? The whole deal with bathtub theory, the whole deal with consumer goods, it's that, the price point matters so much more than the quality to somebody that's walking in and trying to buy something. Again, it seems like something where you'd figure, all other things being equal, everything, all things right in the world, right? That's not going to happen. You're going to have people that are coming in, and they're going to care about quality. And I'm not saying people don't. But I am saying that dollars to donuts, money on the line, people are going to care more about that price point. And so it does create a kind of race to the bottom. It does create a situation where the question isn't how well can you build this thing. The question is, if you're trying to sell units, no planned obsolescence. If you're trying to sell units, you are going to try to manufacture them the cheapest you can, which is effectively the same outcome as planned obsolescence. So it's something that looks like a company that, don't get me wrong, it's all greedy company, capitalism, blah, blah, blah. It looks like planned obsolescence. It looks exactly like planned obsolescence. But it's a company trying to beat out their competitors, making the most cost-effective thing And in doing so, they have to shorten the projected lifespan because they need to sort of loosen the tolerances of the manufacturing. They need to make a worse product that is cheaper to make because they need it to be cheaper, and therefore they need to plan for it to last less time. Uh, my favorite model trains are not high quality, but they're durable. Well, that is an interesting way to put it, because quality and durability, you could have people arguing that they are the exact same thing, or you could have people arguing that they're different things. I think that by some measures, quality and durability are, well, I should say that in my opinion, right? And this is all my opinion. This is all my opinion because I don't manufacture refrigerators. That's not what I do for a living. Um, if you, I think quality is a very broad term. Durability is a much more narrow one. You could consider durability as a subset of quality. So something might be overall low quality, but overall high durability. It's an interesting wrinkle in that whole thing. Give me this. I want this. Um, uh, it would honestly be a good question to ask, sort of, and I'll throw this out there. I want to hear from people. What does quality mean to you? What makes a model quality? It's durability. Is it detail? Is it sort of accuracy? Is it how good the sound is? Right. That's something. How nice the decoder is out of the box. Oh shoot! I just made a duplicate. Um, how smoothly it runs, how easily it can be maintained. That's another one that I feel like is underrated. A lot of people I don't think even know that they have to maintain their models. I'm one of those people that I don't even know how to begin. I just know that it's a thing that you should do, like oil them every once in a while and clean the wheels. Um, but I want to hear it. What does quality mean to you as a buyer? Does it also carry on to things that are external to it? Are the paint colors accurate? And I did say accuracy, but there's more than one kind of accuracy, right? Does the paint and the decals, do they stay on for a long time? Um, is it a good puller? Is it well weighted? Is it what's another one? I mean, can it go fast? Can it go slow? I know that that's something that people like to talk about a lot, is sort of the smooth running of a locomotive at low speed. Um, and I realize that I'm not doing the thing that I used to do, which is the random number generator. I just don't feel like it at this very moment. Um, it's There's a lot of facets to quality. I think I'm underscoring the idea that there are a lot of facets to quality here. Um, you know, Here, let me do this. For me, I really care about how accurate the sounds are, how heavy it is, and if the paint is accurate, if it can go at a realistic top speed. I really like road-specific details when they're included. That's another one. And I mean, that's sort of folded under accuracy, but not every company does road-specific details, and certainly not to every model. Uh, a lot of the time, you will see. I mean, it goes all over the spectrum, right? Oh, shoot, I didn't mean to make that. It goes all over the spectrum where you have models that are just plain wrong, that they have slapped a railroad name and a red cab roof on, and said, look, this is a PRR Northern. And I go, get out. um, but for real, it is a question of, it's something that not all the companies do. It's something that not all the companies do well. It's something that not all models have. But it's something that is important for distinctiveness. And distinctiveness, I think, is something that's in some ways underrated in the model scene. I like a durable locomotive that can handle a little bit of handling to show my friends, also be able to handle long and heavy running. Yeah, uh, and that's yeah, all all good points. If I can handle it without fear of breaking it, yes. There are so many locomotives with all of these fine details that I don't know how anyone picks them up off the layout without breaking stuff. Uh, even Gloria's Train Master, the steps just like all came off immediately, and Jader had to fix them. Jader had to replace them, um, which I don't even know what you're supposed to do about that. I couldn't even get it in and out of the box without parts coming off of the thing. Um, and maybe that's a me problem. Maybe I just don't know how to handle these locomotives. I'm not one to often take things in and out of boxes. Hello, Mopac. Um, but yeah, okay. Look how narrow that row is going to be. That looks good. That looks better. This was the right call in terms of breaking the blocks up, splitting that guy in three. I also didn't measure this, and I should do that. That's actually what I meant to do when I came over here. I meant to measure this. Um, okay. Measurement. Ruler. There we go. Okay. Here, row house. Yeah. Okay. It's 350 feet, so that means I need to go 125 feet, right? 125. Oh, I missed it. Come on. Right there. Thereabouts. Alright, now we're going to go back to the Surveyor 2.0 so I can scoot that over. One of my MTH Premier CNO 614 from the 90s. Cool. So many fine details, but they're all robust and correct. That is cool. That is nice. You know, it's nice to have a model that's like that. And some things might be different, right? And I think it comes back to, yeah, it's like stuff has been getting more expensive, but relatively speaking, it's less expensive, and that has all kinds of implications. All kinds. Wait a minute, what the heck? No, it was 200, no, I did that wrong. It's got to be 115. 115. This 350 is the big block there. Um, yeah, that's this. Oh, okay. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Stop. Hammer time. Back to Surveyor Classic. I made a mistake. I usually think of quality as a property of the materials of manufacturing, so if it has good materials and is manufactured well, it's high quality. Yeah, I think that's not invalid. I think that's it's a very straightforward way of looking at quality. If a model is made with good materials and is manufactured well, but I feel like those, you know, good materials certainly, but being oh, we got it almost spot on. We almost couldn't have done that better. That's ridiculous. That's incredible. Also, wait a minute, that's measured from here, isn't it? No, it's measured from here because I added this road on the other side. Huh, okay. Let's go to 115. I think it is slightly chacoid. It is. It's not perfectly parallel. Yeah, I mean, the tricky part is trying to make quantity quantifiable. It's true. You're absolutely right. I feel like the interesting thing is that's sort of what everything boils down to. I mean, the stuff that I do, right? The route reviews are making quality quantifiable. The screenshot reviews making quality quantifiable. Any sort of reviews, you know, judges holding up big cards that say 9.6 on them, right? That's trying to make quantity or quality quantifiable, and it's hard. It's not something that's it's not something that is necessarily straightforward, but it's something that a lot of people have tried to do in one way or another. and is ultimately something that we hold in reasonably high regard. You know, how many times have you looked at the Rotten Tomatoes before watching a movie? How many times have you looked at the star rating for a restaurant before going? It is it is almost an impossible thing because tastes are so subjective, because everything's so subjective, really. Um, the world that we live in is extraordinarily subjective. Um, but we look to make objective measures out of it. If you assign a metric to if you assign a metric to something, the other things will actually get worse. Yeah, no, that's I know exactly the saying you mean, Mason. I'm not sure that always applies, but it's something that you have to watch out for. It's something that you have to say, hey, if your only metric is how many of these do you get done, or how many of these do you sell, or how many of these do you get done? Because sell is a subjective process. Um, yeah, it depends. Uh, and yeah, sorry, there we go. Uh, sorry. If you make success based around one metric, if you make one number your sort of end all be all of what does it mean to be successful, you're gonna run the risk of the focus being laid squarely on that and on nothing else. Uh, which is to get in the weeds of the saying, right? Um, oh, selection filtered out. I don't even know what the hell I just did. Um, focusing yourself into a corner, yeah, that's one way to put it. Uh, just whatever metric you use, whatever thing you use to define success, it has to be holistic. It has to cover everything, and otherwise you're not really defining success. And you get into something that's kind of sticky. Honestly, it's like, what does that mean, right? Um, in Russia, corner focus on you, yeah. Um, and that's why when I'm doing comparisons, right? And I do this from time to time. When I'm doing comparisons, when I talk about things like Railroader and Railroads Online and Run 8 and whatever, uh, and Trainz, when I'm talking about these things and I'm saying where each thing's strengths are, unless you want to make a quantifiable metric that everyone can agree upon, that sort of addresses all of the strengths and weaknesses of all of these programs, despite the fact that they are very different. In some cases, they couldn't be more different. Um, I don't I don't think that Trainz and something like, I mean, I'll go even further afield. Trainz and like OpenTTD, yes, the only quantifiable metric is boiler explosions. Yes, um, where they're all train games, and I use the term games loosely because this really isn't. Trainz really isn't a game. Uh, and I'm not saying that to be sort of elitist about it. I'm talking about dictionary definitions, or at least what we can create insofar as definitions. You need to look at you need to look at all of the aspects of something and figure out that things don't always fit into every single box that you want to fit them in. What's better for your money? Spending your money on Railroader or spending your money on uh, you know a copy of Trainz. I know I just keep coming back to Trainz, but I'm trying to think of things that are different. Spending your money on Railroader or spending your money on Run 8. The gameplay in both, relatively speaking, is fairly similar. However, one of them has an economic system, and you have to keep track of how much money you're making. The other one just sort of happens. Um, Here's the thought: maybe don't sell ready-to-run trains primarily. Interesting. Yeah, speaking of train games, mind if I say the topic? Well, you can always throw something in the chat, and you'll usually catch my ear, and I'll spin off onto a completely different topic without any sort of control or provocate, or any way to rein myself back in. That's how this works. Um, but yeah, what I'm trying to say is, when you're comparing anything, you need to take in more factors than you usually would expect, because you need to be able to cover all of the strengths of everything involved. But comparison is trying to make an objective world out of a subjective, out of subjective things, out of opinions, trying to make facts out of opinions. And it's like, okay, well, what do you call better, right? And if two people can agree on what better means with, with a set of criteria, usually a set of criteria is the way to go, then you can make a distinction. Then you can make an assessment. You can say, this thing is better. But you can only say that with the people who agree with your criteria. You need to get people on board with your criteria first. Which, is sort of where Locomotive Versus started. I have seen the latest update for Railroader, though. It's an interesting one. I haven't, of course, been able to play on it yet. I haven't had the chance to mess around. But I am intrigued by the maintenance mechanics, right? I think from the limited stuff that I've heard, people seem to think those are an interesting idea, not a bad idea. And the way that they handled it with the AI filling up the cups to 75%, filling up the oil and grease to 75%, while it's just sort of sat stationary, that's really good. That was a very clever way to solve what could have been a really annoying problem. I got one of the Bachmann 440s. I got it's over here, but it's in the box, and like I said, I don't trust myself to take stuff out of boxes. Yeah, Railroader's modding community is really nice. Any game with a good modding community, it gives it legs beyond, gives it legs beyond anything, Is it the Black Spectrum box? Yes. Couldn't see it from over there, could you? Black Spectrum box. I haven't even taken it out of the box yet. But anyway. So the one thing that I don't get, and full disclosure, I'm basing my it's a Main Central. It's Main Central 84. I don't know what it's going to end up as, or what its lore is going to be, or anything like that. Like, I'm not wanting to kit bashing or anything, but for now it's just going to remain what it is, and it's going to come out specifically for the PN layout of the Big E. If there's any modifications I do to it, it'll be so that it's compatible with the automatic function on the Big E layout, which I suppose you haven't seen that yet, have you, Yankee? Have you? Have you been to our booth at Big E's? Because you're only just recently a member. Also, that fellow that we voted in last night, or not last night, Tuesday night, he just turned 18, so he got voted in as a junior member, and he's already a regular member. Nobody noticed that on the sheet while we were voting. When's the Little Roadie? Oh yeah, the Little Roadie. That's usually in November. It's usually in November. But yeah, it's a headache. I got a text from the treasurer like, hey, this person is 18, and I went, oh, shoot, okay, well that means we've got to change how much we're charging him, and I need to get him a fob, and I have to send him an email sort of detailing the fact that, hey, like, just so you know, you got to pay more. I know you haven't paid anything yet, but you got to pay more. It was mentioned at the meeting. Yeah, it was sitting in pieces behind me. Yeah, it's a neat layout. It's a neat little layout. It has an automatic feature where the trains run on their own. Um, it has very tight corners, which is why I've always wanted one of these. Because previously I would borrow one from the New England Berkshire and Western, which was the club at my alma mater, which you was the president of, incidentally. And Model Railroad Club wants taxes. We don't want taxes. We just want to keep the lights on. Um, it's a tithe. It's a membership fee. It is what it is. Uh, if you find a club without a membership fee, let me know. At any rate, that's why I bought the thing. Because the weird thing about the new Railroader update, the thing that I haven't sort of had the opportunity to attempt to understand yet, is this straightened or not? It is. Is I don't get what's going on with the shop workers now. But I guess they made it slightly less of a pain to manage them, but it's harder to manage them. Like, you can't micromanage them at all, which sounds like a plus, but it's kind of weird that you can't really manage them at all. They just sort of do what they want. You just tell them how fast you want them to work. But yeah, I used to borrow any B&W number 88, which was a 440, and use that to run on that layout because it's so tight. The corners are so tight, and I've been looking for a locomotive that I can call my own to replace it, since I don't go to RPI anymore, and they also don't even have a layout that's up and functional, which is criminal, by the way. But such is life. Was it 88? The one on the layout was was it 88? I just read your thing and took your word for it. The one on the layout was 87. Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. I don't remember which one it was. I probably have a photo of it somewhere. No, the layout was 88. Okay. If you can find a club that does HON 3, good luck. Like there are some. There are some. The club, the layout at the Colorado Railroad Museum has standard and narrow gauge, which is what you would expect from that place. But I'm not sure if it's HON3. I assume it is, because it looked like they had the Blackstone models, and those are the HON3 ones, right? I don't know too much about modeling narrow gauge. What I do know is that the the costs for things are through the roof, and there aren't many options in most like actual scales, and the preference is HON30 and ON30 because they use N and HO scale track respectively. So it just makes life a little easier. Um, that's one of those things. Oh shoot, I didn't mean to hold that. I wanted to... Yeah. Let's do this. I'm expecting ON30 for the time being, just to get practice with the track spacing and handling. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with ON30. It's just the like real life 30-inch gauge stuff. There's not a ton of it. There's a lot more tape gauge floating around that's interesting to model. I don't know anywhere off the top of my head that had a really extensive 30-inch gauge network. And that might exist. That might exist. And I'd actually, once again, I would love it if somebody would prove me wrong here and say, like, oh, this country had a ton of 30-inch stuff, or a ton of 2.5 foot, 2'6", because I'm really curious. it's one of those things. Kind of always hope you're wrong, because a world in which you're wrong is usually a much more interesting than one in which you're right. Right? It means that you've got more to learn. Honestly, probably whales. I wouldn't be overly surprised, but they just had regular 2 foot, didn't they? Um, Maybe they had a lot of 30-inch gauge. I don't know. I'd love to know. Like I say, uh, I always try to walk around in the world assuming that I'm wrong about stuff, because that's the only way I'm going to learn anything, right? I'm not going to learn anything if I'm right. What do I have to learn if I'm right? Nothing. I already know. I know the answer. I've got the answer. I'm correct, right? Um, they had 2 foot plus a few inches, depending on the railway. Oh, that's interesting, and a little cursed, but interesting. Um, Speaking of which, the devs of COS, do they have the Baldwin Trench engine, Class 10, or for those more familiar with it, is the Class 10 a different engine? I don't. I don't know. I Baldwin Trench engine. That would have been 2 foot gauge, which is out of the scope of Century of Steam. If it's the Trenchy that I'm thinking of, but there were plenty of Trenchies. There was the Frenchy Trenchy, which is the Peugeot Bourdon, which I learned not too long ago that the French sold one to the Japanese, which that's kind of wild, isn't it? The Japanese army owned a French 0440 like double Fairley tank engine. Um, I don't know if that's technically a double Fairley, because Fairley's a brand name, right? So that would be a Meyer type. It'd be a Malay Meyer, Frenchy Trenchy. It is. It's what it is. Uh, yeah. Uh, yeah. 262 weird tank design. I mean, yeah. There were like, isn't there one of those that's running in California or something? Talachlin is 2'3", and Festiniug is basically 2 foot. Okay, yeah, that's probably what, like 600 millimeters ish. 1 foot 11.5 inches. Uh, I would love to see the trench run at some point. I'd love to. I I've been to. I know this is going to ruffle some feathers, right? Saying that I want to go to California. Uh, California's a great place to visit. I don't know about to live there, but the fact of the matter is, lots of people go there. So what can you say? Uh, it's got perfect weather all year round. That's why people go there. Uh, the but I would love to visit and see all the railroading sites, because there are so many that I have not been able to see. I went there. I got to hang out in Sacramento for like a day. I got to hang out in San Francisco for like a day. It was a great time. It was a really cool place. It was awesome, honestly. Um, getting to ride around cable cars and soak in the city, or go to the California State Railroad Museum. That's a fantastic museum. It deserves all the accolades that it gets. It deserves all the attention that it gets. They do a really good job of keeping a large collection. Uh, yeah, no, see, that's what I'm talking about, Orion. It's not right, you know. It's genuinely, there's a reason that people vacation there. There's a reason that people go there. There's a reason that people live there. It's not a hellhole. It's and people have talked up California as some sort of dystopia, and it's not. Like, it's got its problems, but find me somewhere that doesn't. The reason there's so many homeless people in California is because they don't freeze to death in the winter there. Like, it's a place on Earth where you can live a whole year round and never like live inside. That's got it. And it is what it is. But that's why I don't want to get caught up with that. I don't. I California is an incredible, diverse place with all sorts of astounding scenery, tons of great people, really cool stuff. and it has a GDP larger than most countries. So whatever they're doing something right. Um, so I just threw down this gravel here, and I'm not sure about it. I know I need a parking lot for this church. I was actually figuring I'd put the lot around back. Maybe I can put a curb cut right here, actually. But yeah, in terms of just foamy stuff, there's so much to do in California. Like, so much to do. You could spend a month in California and not see everything that it has to offer, just in terms of trains, and that's awesome, right? That's something that we should all be thinking is awesome because it's awesome. It is a ton of preserved stuff. It is a ton of, you know, great museums. Should I put? I know I put like a burial ground over there, but should I put a little cemetery next to this church? I'm thinking like downtown Boston, they've got little cemeteries all over the place. Um, there are some folks in the Discord that have been, trying to figure out and pushing for a California trip in the not so distant future, and I would be so down. I didn't get to spend a ton of time there. I got to spend a couple of days. I was in the middle of what was a big circle, like cross country Amtrak trip. So I got to go. I got to hang out. I got to meet some friends, or I got to meet a friend of mine, and I stayed with him for like 3 nights, and then I moved on. Um, is there an entire small cemetery asset? That's a good question. I think there is. Perfect. Perfect size. Good. Good thinking, Mew. I think I'm gonna face them like this. All right. There we go. Basically, I won't stand for goofy slander. I won't stand for stuff that just sort of generalizes and whatever. There are there are very few places on Earth that are genuinely terrible, or at least universally terrible. And I think we are, you know, it better serves us as people. I visit Cali, but not the population center. Midway, the Redwoods, Donner Pass. But those are all good things, you know? Those are absolutely great reasons to visit California. Those are some incredible sites. They're incredible places. Uh, and Mew names another one. Uh, and that's, again, I think it's better for us as people, and better for us as emotional creatures even, to at least try, to come up with what would be the bright side in most cases. To take things for what they are and try to. I'm just going to seal that up because it's going to look dumb otherwise. Take things for what they are and try to look at the positives. Because, again, like nowhere that we are going to realistically visit in our lives, unless we are to visit an active war zone, is going to be the 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 hellhole that some news agencies want you to think that California is. It's a perfectly cromulent place. There's a reason stuff's so friggin' expensive there. It's because people keep moving. Uh, at least Ohio has like the. Oh, you know what? Actually, let me show this off. Went to the PN the other day. Brought home this. The Ohio Central, VHS. And I know, we can't have nice things anymore. They don't run Steam on the main line like that. Uh, but the point is that, and I'm not even going to make the jokes. I there are so many good opportunities for me to throw in a jab about the states I don't like, right? But I'm not even going to do that. I'm gonna be honest and say that every place, yeah, the Ohio Central Railroad itself, I believe, is a G&W property, and all the locomotives are in the Age of Steam. Um, yeah, yeah, no, Yankee, never sleep on that free bookshelf. Like, there are no books over there anymore, but the VHS tapes you can get are fantastic. I have the Steamtown opening tape somewhere that I got off that shelf. Um, there were two of them, if I remember right. So there might still be one up there. Um, I think. Hold on. You know what I want to put here? I want to put a big building that'll take this up. I live in Ohio, stepped on the moon first, etc. Also home to the uh, most friendly towns in the U.S. Period. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. Maine might give you a run for your money. Um, what the heck is this? This is like the effing. What is that house that like they never stopped building? That's what that looks like to me. Um, what is this? Oh, that's cool. That's a cool building. That's going in the physical pick list. Um, well, okay, hold on, stop. Because now we have to decide on what makes something the most friendly town. Now we need to quantify that. If we're going to agree on this, we need to make some statistics. We need to carry out some scientific endeavors, right? Um, because when you say friendly, and a perhaps obvious question immediately comes, friendly to whom? Uh, God damn it, Mopac. Uh, but I'm not saying you don't live in a friendly town. Yeah, a town so nice you'll never leave. Um, this is an interesting building I don't really know what to do with. Uh, do you hear police sirens more than once a week? Well, I feel like that's a strange metric because you're going to hear more police sirens when you live in a place with more people because there's more people and more police. So, if you're going by, sort of police sirens per week, then you should probably scale that against population because otherwise you've made a map that shows you where people live, right? If you don't scale stuff like that by population, the hotspots are just going to be where the people are. And what you really want to know is, does an area have a disproportionate amount of police sirens for its size? Um, does an area have more police sirens per 100,000 people than another, whatever? Like Pittsburgh, if you know, Anthrocon. Nice. Um, my neighbor has gone into hiding after running from the police. Well, that's always good. That's great. That's the sign of a friendly town. That's for sure. Um, but to not get carried away with stuff that's impossible to quantify, it is, it is sort of, we need to look at things for their merits. Need to look at things for what what is good about them, because yeah, okay, there's going to be good and bad things about anywhere you go. In some places there might be more of one than the other, but if you're gonna if you're gonna walk through life and be a happy individual, right, you can't be thinking about how terrible everything is everywhere all the time. uh, you need to take the bad with the good, you need to take the good with the bad. Everything deserves at least an understanding, right? And that's sort of what that sort of comes back to what I was saying about California, just to touch on it one more time, which is that I'm not going to claim that California doesn't have a homeless problem, and I'm not going to claim that I know anything about what they might be doing to solve it. But what I do know is that if you're a homeless person and you can get to California, you're gonna go to California. uh, People are going there like it's nobody's business. And they're going to keep going there as long as the weather in California stays perfect all year round. Like, unless you turn on the weather machine and you make it 30 degrees in California in January, you're not getting in Los Angeles in January. You're not you're not solving this problem because it doesn't really matter what you do at that point. People are going to keep showing up because it's a great place to live, because it doesn't matter if you are homeless or not, you're not going to freeze to death. um, it's tough to get away from negative news. I'll trade trees and no neighbors for hundreds of feet for any kind of population center. Yeah, and I certainly don't disrespect that point of view. uh, I, you know, I'm. I feel like at some point in our lives we all sort of dream about, like, oh, you know what? I really wish I was in the middle of goddamn nowhere right now, like with nobody to bother me. And I respect that, because I've had that strike me too. A lot of the times it strikes me when I'm driving through Maine, going to the WWF, and I go, man, I wish I lived up here. Uh, but but here's where it gets me. I live a 5 minute walk from a supermarket, and my office is like 3 miles that way, and I can go on a bus for like 10 minutes and get off, and it's a one stop, or not one stop, but it's a one seat ride to my office and to Oneyville Square, where there's a post office, there's a library, there's New York System hot wieners, which can't be beat, and like just like stores and whatever. Like, I'm so spoiled. I live in one of those fabled 15-minute city sort of places where I can get to anything that I want without even getting in my car. I've got a bike path. I've got an ice cream shop, which can't overrate that. Uh, and yeah, lots of places in cities don't have this, and I recognize how lucky I am to live where I live, and I wouldn't give it up for the world. I am in a suburb, but it's a very urbanized suburb. It's an older style suburb. It it gives me the advantages of being in a city without the detractors that usually come with being in a city in the United States. It's not a ton of sprawl. It's not terrible to get to, any of the things I want to get to, and even the highway is not that far away. There are areas like in Warwick, for example, like the Providence Northern, where it's like 30 minutes to get from there to a highway, and not even an interstate highway, just a grade separated highway. Um, and that's and beyond that, there's no transit options. It's a failure of urban planning. Um, and I say that, but really, I say it's a failure of urban planning, but really the fact of the matter is, and again, we have to look at sort of the reality of the situation and not just write something off as bad, right? The city of Warwick is a city that exists because like five villages came together and realized that they had more bargaining power if they were one unit. So they made a city. There are distinct areas in Warwick. There is no one center. Um, Weather is a good point. Weather sort of ties back to the California bit. Uh, but yeah, and I don't want to get too carried away on that. But it's like, I want. Why do I want to live in Maine? Well, because I want someplace that's close to my favorite hobby, which is the Wiscasset Waterville in Farmington, which everyone here should visit all the time. Um, and yeah, I volunteer for the two-foot gauge. Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, I somebody needs the video of us running out of the boxcar. Not us getting shot, because I wasn't in that one because I wasn't in period dress. But yes, um, I hope that should be posted on YouTube somewhere. I really like how this is coming out. I'm just sort of autopiloting this. This looks decent. Um, I really wanted to do industries today, but instead we laid down a couple of rows of row houses, and I should probably just fill all this in with road and stuff because, whatever. Um, yeah, Virgo, absolutely, like, shoot me a DM or something, or, on Discord, whatever. You have both on your channel. Go to that man's channel and watch the videos. They're great. Um, Let me know, and we will get together. It will be awesome. I love to get together with people at the WWNF. Yeah. I'll take tornadoes, 7 severe winds over hurricanes, and weeks of rain nonstop. Show search filter. You should put that. You should cut that out and make it a short. Both of them. Uh, I've been seeing a lot of your. I've been seeing a lot of your the PN shorts. They've been coming up on my recommended, and I'm like, hey, I know who that is. All right, let's go this way. Let's just do that out to there. But insert spline point here. Insert spline point here. Yeah, so why do I want to move to Maine? One, I like snow, and we don't get enough snow down here anymore. The past several winters have been super disappointing. Um, the the being in the middle of nowhere is not unappealing. Honestly, it has its perks. There are things that I look at that and go like, boy, that would be nice, right? Just to not think about anybody else. But the other, the flip side of it is, I wouldn't want to be like 30 minutes from a grocery store. I would jump off a bridge. I can't do it. I'm so spoiled. I'm across the street from a Wendy's, which in fairness, not as good as they used to be. That's my hot take for this week. Wendy's has begun to lose its luster for me. Part of it is the fact that the Wendy's here just can't take an order to save its life. They always get something wrong. It's a real bummer. There's only one good Wendy's in the state. It's over by the airport. I've known this since I lived in Warwick, and I forgot it because the one over here was acceptable. The thing is, the one over here just has been failing me, and I've tried Burger King like as a desperation, and it's pretty good. I believe I'll be going back to the PN on Saturday with my BRF F3 and some passenger cars. I'm not going to be there this Saturday, but I might be there next Saturday. Next Saturday, there's the committee meeting for the bylaws committee, and the Saturday after that, there's the committee meeting for the House committee. I'm the president, so I'm automatically on all the committees, so I got to go to both of those. So I'm definitely going to be there, at least in some capacity, those next Saturdays, but I cannot guarantee you that I'm going to stay late enough for like anything fun to happen. Oh shoot, what did I just do? There we go. Should run a train with all your steam engines, then DM a photo of them. I will, but it'll be after the picking for the next Royale, which is the steam, which is the engines you own Royale. I know what you're trying to do, and I saw your message. I saw your message in the thing. Also, I got a bone to pick with you, for the record. What happened to the Departure podcast that was supposed to get made while I was away? What happened? Gonna go. I gotta. This is not helping. I can't see what I'm doing. It's underground. God damn it. Damn, that's crazy. Okay. Oh, shoot. I went down just a little bit. How about I ram... Yeah, I know. It's partially my fault. I did say I would check back, but I at least expected someone to go, so what are we doing? You know, I assume you guys all talked offline about it, or like in Four Foamers and not in the Four Foamers embassy, because I could have chipped into the conversation if I could see the conversation. I didn't even know you guys were trying, and it was not on the brain. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this, but it's not fair for me to dress you down live like this. It's as much my fault as anyone's because I did not communicate with you. Um, I wasn't actually begrudged, but you're out here trying to make me lose the game. So, is this straightened? Yes. Is this straightened? I think these are all straightened. There we go. You're also trying to make me reveal to you my secret steam locomotive that I'm gonna uh, pull out for the guessing for the next Royale, which definitely isn't just gonna be the T1. Um, so spline point. I guess I'm just doing this suburb now. This was so not what I wanted to do today. I'm not saying I do. I'm not saying I don't. Oh, this is all screwed up again. I need to go back into regular mode and get all of the spline points situated where they need to be situated. I also don't know if there's like some subtle terrain going on here. If there is terrain, yeah. Let's just lower this down to like that. Because if we can get these to if we can get these to cooperate, then at least we can just raise the ground to the height of them and call it a day. I could have just lowered the whole road, but I really wanted to be in here because I don't understand all the tools in Surveyor 2 yet. I'm not there yet. I have much to learn. I don't want to well, I mean I don't really want to talk about what I could bring to the Royale because I don't really have a lot of options and I don't want to sway anyone sort of thinking in one direction or another. But if I was able to gaslight Gloria into thinking that I was not going to propose on the trip to Colorado, then I feel like I can manage anything. I can make anyone believe anything at this point. You underestimate my power. Okay. I showed the only person that knew any of them ahead of time, including me, because I don't really know ahead of time what I'm going to pick for a Royale, because it doesn't matter, right? Because it doesn't. I don't need to like show up and have stats that are good, right? I don't need to to actually use that locomotive for any practical purpose. Insert spline point. So it doesn't matter if I end up picking something that's actually terrible, like bringing the Pachat Bourdon to the Japanese Royale. But no, the one that like I let Casey know ahead of time, and by ahead of time I mean like a minute ahead of time, because we were talking about it. Was the last, not the last one, but the one before it, where I brought the Rhode Island built locomotive, and that was great because I didn't know about it, and she didn't know about it, and it was just it's one of those things. Okay, we did have a lot of cowboys. So why should I not be telling East what you own models of? Well, you shouldn't be telling East what I own models of because he just wants to get a leg up on the guessing for next Royale. Which honestly I don't even get, East, because you already made it in, like, you made it in with flying colors. And I get it, you just want to play more local games, which honestly is, I'm honored, right? Uh, but there are these poor saps that have, there's poor starving foamers in Africa that have never been to a local game. But I've been wanting to bring funny things. Alright, let's do this. I actually want to trade this out with this piece. Replace spline with selected asset. Doing these intersections is not very fun. I'll say that much. Which, I need to be consistent about where I'm bringing. Okay, it's the side roads that I'm bringing the curbs all the way in, or the sidewalks all the way in, and then I'm pulling back on the main street roads. Okay. But also I need to make sure that these are slightly lower than the main street road, so that we don't get this going on. Although I should probably see if I can make this intersection level. You haven't been in 2, Mew has been in all of them. Yeah, but Mew hasn't won. You won the first one. Or Mew hadn't won. Sorry, I hope everyone watched it. What is going on with this? Is it because it's not straightened or something? What? How come this is... Oh, no, that one's just lower. Is this... Does this really have that kind of camber? That's interesting. I would not have guessed that. Wait, can I... No, I can't put in a super elevation. And it came out yesterday. So, it's not that much of spoilers. Oh, here's what I should do. I should put my traffic engineering skills to work and just add a high point in the middle of the intersection for that. There we go. Okay. So that looks decent. I'm still, you know, I'm okay with the boulevard situation. I also want to flex the new model in your possession. Yeah, okay. Wasn't the, like, original Gulag reason about flexing? Okay, let's do this. Okay. All aboard, all aboard, all aboard, the Providence Northern. Yeah, flexing too hard. Okay. This. I will be considering everyone else's locomotives as my own, for the purposes of this Royale. They are temporarily our locomotives, and I own all of them. Scoot this over until it's right under that. Alright, so there we go. We've got some roads. Now we need to flesh this grid out a little bit more because we need some more cross streets. I feel like, right? This one right here, I'm not sure how to feel about. It's something that I sort of dove into, but I'm tempted to. Well, no, because I can't put a street straight through there. The hamburger. I was flabbergasted when we thought those were White Castle for a second. Okay. Let's do spline point. Spline point. This is so not what I wanted to do. Why am I drawn to doing this? I've been so, like, taken over by ADHD today, and I know this is not very ADHD because I'm not bopping between things, right? But it's a little bit of the hyperfixation, right? I've just decided that today I'm working on these intersections, and even though I don't really want to work on these intersections, that's what I'm doing. And honestly, when you get this kind of inspiration, if you can call it that, but when you get this kind of motivation, you got to embrace it. You got to just do it. Because as much as I talk about you should, press yourself to make sure you get a whole section done and make sure you spread your work out and make sure you don't lose your mind doing this or that or the other thing. Um, when you know that there's something that you have, come on, lift it by the tiniest bit, thank you. When you know that there's something that you usually don't want to do, but you are actively doing it, like progress is happening, you gotta let it happen. You gotta let that spice flow. Um, let's see. I talked about needing a fire department, right? And I think I put down something. Oh yeah, right here. Here's your fire department. What I want is a sort of like meeting hall or other building to put next to the church, and I just haven't found one yet. That's why I was looking at hall earlier. And I'm gonna go back to looking for that because I want to find something to fill this spot. And then I get distracted with these buildings here, which I actually quite like. Uh, Went from Minecraft to Red Dead to Stormworks GTA to pulling out my old HScale GS4, driving an RC car around my room. Somebody had a Power Wheels the other day. I could hear them. That's definitely a distribution hall. That's what it says on the side. Um, City Hall, City Hall office. That's a little big. Oh, I've got an idea. What if it was only 2 levels instead of 3? Can't help but notice there are no doors on this building. What if I attach this to the back end of this building here like this? There are still no doors, but... I hope everyone... So this is just something that's come to mind because I had a in-depth discussion about it with somebody many years ago, many moons ago, and it's bothered me ever since because they're a very intelligent person. I'm not going to call them out. They're a very intelligent person, one of the smartest people I know, and they do not understand the Monty Hall problem. They do not at all understand the Monty Hall problem and why the probability is like 2/3 to guess the right door by swapping after Monty opens the door, which is just a mathematical fact. Like, that's not an opinion I have. That's not an argument. That's the way that it is. If you go and do, like a Monte Carlo simulation of that, if you really put your statistician's hat on, which no one here is going to do, I hope, because God, I hated stats in college. Like it's the odds are better for you to switch doors. It's 2/3 instead of 1/3 even. What the hell is this? Why do I have so many DMs? Oh, it's the Four Foamers Embassy, of course. Also, I called you out on... Yeah, no, yeah. East, you make it sound like your thing was in retaliation to my thing, but that's not the case. In fairness, my thing wasn't really in retaliation either. It's something that... The thing is, if I cared, and I do want to come back to this because I do feel bad, and I don't want anyone to think, especially not you, that it's a genuine dressing down and that I was annoyed at you and that I think you did something wrong in public. I don't actually care. If I cared, I would not have done it this way. I would not have made it a joke. I think it's worth joking about because who cares? It is just I just want to make that clear. Okay, let's let's grass this up. Oh, this is like a door on the side of the building. We should probably put a patio there or something. Oh, I can just put like a straight up patio with the splines. Okay, so now we have a big 2-story building here with no entrances, but that's okay. We don't need that. Let's do this. Let's grab 3.6 meter, I think. No, no, I don't want 3.6 meter. I want the double that. I want the 7.2 meter. Which, okay, yeah. Yeah, that's about right. That's pretty much what I wanted. This is my favorite stretch of road now. This is great. Look at this. And I should put more of these 3-deckers in because I really like them. This area is going to be pretty much all of these row houses because I want to make them look good. I'm gonna put I am gonna put trees in the squares at some point. Actually, do we have ash trees? I think I asked this question before and the answer was no, and I was annoyed. Because the thing is, yeah, we need a commie block. Because ash trees were pretty much the quintessential street tree for a really long time. Oh yeah, tree green ash, but this is gonna be too big, isn't it? Holy Moses, yeah, it's too big. Okay, so because of the way that they grew, and I think cedar trees were as well, and they were both taken out by different diseases. Yeah, 100 years later, that's the life after people tree. That's the tree. That's the Fallout 4 tree. That's like you left it alone for a while. QRST. What makes a good street tree? The answer is a tree that's relatively small, whose leaves are relatively high, and that grows in a straight line. So the broadleaf stuff is obviously out. Honestly, cherry trees are used as street trees not too uncommonly. Now, palm trees aren't great because they don't have the leaves. I mean, palm trees are like, what should we call it? They're like grass. They're just really big grass. Oh, hey, look, palm trees. Oh man, I put those down and I can hear music. Gum trees, dead gum trees. That's what we want. No, we don't want Douglas fir trees. We want something that's small. And the thing with speed trees is they're all going to be different sizes, so that's not going to be great. Elm trees. These are going to be too big. Honestly, that's not too big, but it's on the biggest side. The birch trees... Oh, actually, it's funny you bring that up, because there are the birch trees that are the right shape. Yes. There are street tree assets. Honestly, these birch trees might be it. I forgot there were birch trees that were the right shape. They don't provide a ton of shade, but then again, street trees don't always. There are street tree assets, but they're all 2D trees. So on the one hand, these are good, and I want to finish this. Like, I want to do this. I want to put all the trees down. On the other hand, I'm worried that I'm going to bump the roads at some point. I'm going to have to redo all of them. So I don't want to do it until... I want to do them last. I want to do them last. And that's sort of been my MO from the beginning. One of the things that I've been wanting to do, though, is get this done, and I don't remember what I wanted to put in here. I don't think it was these, and I don't think it was these either. It might be more of these, or it might be just straight up, like, regular houses. Where am I going to put the federal prison? This is the school down here, which it actually... Are these labeled? Because back in the day, these would have been, like, boys and girls entrances, right? And then you have another firehouse down here. Um, which I just like the look of this. Like you've got two like medieval looking buildings across from one another, and this, I think, I'm actually going to put over here and give it a nice big space to itself. So, yeah. Now, what do I put here? Not a certain Academy L. So if we look at, whoa, that's a cool building. That's still a cool building, although there's no doors now. EMT Manor House. So this is something that I'm not opposed to this. Like this, if this block is nice houses with big yards, I'm honestly kind of here for that. We've got this, we've got this. I wasn't really gonna go whole hog on it, but what the hell was that? Oh, that's cool. I kind of want to put this like at the entrance to a mill complex. Not this one. This one isn't cool enough. Let's do this one. Yeah, let's do this one. Although this would be sort of a relic of another time, right? See, with a couple of anti-aircraft guns on top, yeah. This would be sort of a relic of another time, and that's why I think I'm actually going to put it over here. I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to make it so that it is not... You can't drive through it anymore, because they would have needed a different curb cut for the semis. I might end up moving this, because I don't really like this. Yeah, and having the school be a university... We're definitely going to have a university somewhere. We're definitely going to have a university somewhere. I don't think here is the place. Maybe we could put one in South or in Bellington instead of South Bellington, but I didn't really carve out a spot for that. Maybe that would go over here. Some kind of university. We'll build a walkable world. Let me just type. Let me write U here for a university. But we're definitely gonna have one of those. Oh, and you know what? I'm gonna draw underneath that like that. I wrote a P here, and I don't know what I wrote it for. It's one of those things that I keep like notating, and then I have to guess. Make sure it's close enough to the station. Yeah, well, in reality, back in the day, this would have been really far from the station. But now it's actually very close. Your station is right here. I just couldn't see it behind this this big building here. Most of these are going to be much too large. But yeah, so it's pretty close to your train station here. Bellington is going to be totally another beast. I don't really know what to do with Bellington yet, just in terms of style. Like, this is very clearly a mill town. And Bellington was a mill town too, but most of the people who worked at the mills lived across the river in South Bellington, because that's where the mills started. So, I don't know. A war memorial is a good pick, though. Now, what was I looking for, though? I was looking for something. Oh, right. What if I type in manor? What are we gonna get? Not too much. Not too many things. We have this. This is like effing Skyfall Lodge. This does not deserve to be here. This deserves to be, like, out in the grapes or something. Um, yeah, I randomly drew the nook in the field. Honestly, I should have left that as, like, a crop circle. Aliens have been here. Wow, that is definitely a house. Interesting. Um, there's another one. I think that those two are basically identical. But in this town, just a normal house is almost equivalent to a manor, because you've got, if we avoid all the row houses, if we do like these brick houses, right? Hello, guy. These brick houses with driveways. Even if I put, I'm delivering on the pole. Oh yes, the steak or the skeleton car, fantastic. Um, Even if I put a bunch of these next to one another, these are still much nicer than the row houses. You get bigger yards, you get more space, you get a single family accommodation without a shared wall. I'm going to fit 4 of these in here. And there's a terrain variation. There's a geography happening. I don't actually know if these are a Canadian design. I wouldn't be overly surprised, but there's something that strikes me as these could be almost anywhere in North America, right? Okay. I want to raise this up a little bit, so I think I'm gonna grab that and then just... No? What if I grab this then? I'm stupid. I'm so stupid. It's not half the driveway is buried. The thing just isn't close enough to the road. What am I doing? Hold on. 221, 220. Let's get these all on the same angle at least. There wasn't something that you guys couldn't see that I could see. That was just me being dumb. And then we've got those 4 houses with big yards over there. I also want to, what was that? I just saw something that I liked. Like a little, there it is. Garden shed. I don't know what exactly we're going to do with that, but we're going to do something with it. Pools, oh right. Yeah, no, we were supposed to do a, was that what the P is for? Is that what the P is for? No, because the P is over here. This is the community pool, right? There would have been some pools, but for the most part, you're gonna have community pool. You've got a community beach here. Oh, P is parking lot. That would make sense. It's either park or parking lot. You'd think I would have just marked that down as parking space. I don't remember either. I don't think anybody else remembers. It's okay. Parking lot is not bad. Parking lot is not a bad call in this location. Poke combination pawn rook, yeah. I'm going to fill in this area around the P as with the parking lot texture, and maybe that was what that was. Ooh, you know what would be good over here? One of those bridges that are just for a pipe. See, now the ADHD is here. Dam pipeline. Make covered pipeline. Hold on. No. Pipeline, 1 meter. Just a giant effing pipe. Reminds me of something. Oh, this is actually an opportunity, because if we just have these steam pipes that are going somewhere. Pipe, spline, steam. Steam without supports. No. Okay, hold on. We'll use this pipe. And it'll just go this way across the river. Now, I can't help but notice that these supports are actually very short. So we're going to have to get this down to the level of whatever will let us get it across the thing, or we're going to have to change pipes. But the fact that this is a steam pipe, yeah, that's giving me an idea. The river is not navigable now. Uh, Heating pipes. 2P high 10 meters. Oh, okay, hold on. Because what I want to do is I want to throw some pipes across the way here. From one of these, basically from one of these windows, right? Because this is an interesting place where there isn't a boiler house. It's just part of the whole thing, which that makes me think I should add an attached building that's a boiler house and then run the pipes from that. This is going to be either like a food distributor, or more likely it's going to be something that outputs food, something that packages food. The people who work in the mills live in South Bellington, and the people who own the mills live in Bellington. That's honestly not a bad way to call it. Not entirely, because there's a lot of room in Bellington. There's a lot of room in Bellington. But for the most part, South Bellington is the lower class, the lower income of the two. It's a town that you might say is richer because they have all of the mills there. But oh shoot, that's the right spline for this. Oh, and it has a spline thing? Oh my god, I couldn't have asked for more. See, and here I was just going to run them into a building. Okay. Can't help but notice that that the spline is offset, and that's not helping anybody. Nope, that's bad. What if I just tie it to there? No. No, so we're going to have to make that... Okay, never mind. We're going to have to do this manually. Manual override on this wall. But I also... I want to make sure that this... Oh, right, I did say I wanted to put in a boiler house here. But honestly, I can't put in anything that has a stack, which is going to be all boiler houses, because that's what defines a boiler house. So I think what I just need is some sort of brick factory building that we might be able to put here as the boiler house, as a stand-in for a boiler house. Yeah, because that's a barn. That's not helpful. We've been doing very good with kit-bashing buildings to this point. I think we can keep it up. Let me just check in the physical pick list to see if there's anything that jumps out at me. All these places have too many damn windows. This is actually really nice, but that is way too bougie. Hi, Bibby. Did we get something? What about this? What about this, but I stick the rail end into the building? That happens sometimes, yeah. And the answer is no, because I can see into this. Okay, never mind. let's see, let's see, let's see. Part of me wants to take the end of this. I wonder if people will notice. I mean, you guys will notice you're here for it, but... Nope, that's a boiler house. If I take this building and I wedge it into the side of that, okay? About one of the water treatment buildings. Water treatment building's not a bad call. If I don't like this, we'll look at those. Wedge it into the side of the building, lower it so that it's only one story. I don't like the fact that we have windows that are, you know, sort of being cut off by this, but it is what it is. This is then going to go through the wall up here. Although maybe I'll make it a little offset because that's too perfect. Although no, I wanted it to encompass the stack itself. How far can we pull this out? See, that looks goofy. That looks dumb. How far can we push it in? Maybe like that, actually. Where it just takes the corner of it. And then... I don't, like I say, I don't want to cut off any windows if I can help it. The thing with kit bashing buildings is it has to look like you haven't kit bashed a building. What if I move it over by a little bit? What if I consume that entire wall in there? The fact that that sticks out a little bit is going to annoy me to no end. What if... Alright, we're going into 2.0 here. I keep trying to find ways to make this work when I should just go look at the water treatment buildings like Mew suggested. Although having that... If I could line that up perfectly, it'd be great. Okay, okay, I don't hate that. I don't hate that. That's lined up with that. That's lined up with that. What does everybody think? I try not to, personally. Okay. This needs to scoot just a little bit that way. And then we have this. Is this hovering? Oh, it's so hovering. It's mega hovering. Oh, I don't want that at all. Okay, what if... Can I click on this? Thanks. What if we lower it to go straight through the window, then? Actually, no. What if we make it just go... Oh, come on, can you let me click on it, please? What if we go through under the window, then? I'm trying to make this one big, you know, one straight spline, because I think it's going to look really goofy if I don't. And the fact that it... Yeah, I can see where it sort of separates, where the edge is. If I can't get this all to be level, it's going to look goofy. Although, I could always sort of tilt this a little bit. Bring that up just a smidge. Come on. That's a real unit of measurement, a smidge. Okay. So now we've got a pipeline that goes from here to there. Oh shoot. I've lowered the entire thing instead of just the one end. Damn it. Hold on. No! Come on, up to there. That's why it didn't look any better. And that's why this is not... Now I need to put it back to the way it was. Son of a gun. Maybe I should just go ahead and raise this end up. I mean, steam rises, right? Okay. So we've got that. And this steam is definitely being used for, like, heat treating in this building. Or something. I don't know. Why did they get it from this? Probably because they're owned by the same company. I don't know. Actually, and if I were to add to that having a pedestrian bridge as well, even if it's one that is no longer open, and now that I'm saying that, I have bridges with pipes on the side of them. No, not show missing assets. Bridge. What have we got for bridge? I need, like, the dinkiest bridge imaginable, because I need a, like, that's just a pedestrian bridge. And this is one of the ones I was thinking of, right? Like, this is a skew truss, it has pipes. But this is probably better than that. That's definitely not it. And then I'm not sure what we could use, because I have a lot of railroad bridges. I don't have a lot of foot bridges over that are supposed to be over rivers, right? A Honda bridge. Hey, look, it's the thingy. Ooh! Holy crap, that's way bigger than I thought it was. It's Roebling. It's one of my compatriots. Wouldn't a bridge with pipes be restricted to personnel only? Depending. But that's sort of what I'm going for. Either way, I'm not finding what I'm looking for. I just need... I'm not looking for railroad bridges. I just want a way for people to get from one side of this to the other. We have industrial bridge. Oh, okay, that's for, like, between buildings. That's actually good to know. And then I'm realizing we're using this instead of this, which this might have more. So there's a bridge in Brunswick, Maine, that is a little like baby suspension bridge that you can use to get from one to the other. Now this is what I'm talking about. One side of the river there to the other. And the fact that there are cars appearing on this bridge, I hate that. That's terrible. But honestly, this is more trouble than it's worth. I'm not figuring out another bridge here. I'm not. I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not getting caught up with that. Not until I have much more figured out in this area. And god damn it, why can't I let it go? I want to figure it out. I want to figure it out. I want to find a bridge that I don't hate for this. But the thing is, if I find one that I've got to do bridge pillars, then I've got to do too much wood, it would float away. Oh, God. Those are all railroad bridges. Footbridge spline. Yeah, that's too nice. Way too nice. The thing is, we need something like that little suspension bridge, because without it, we're not going to be able to have the span that's large enough. Unless we have a former bridge instead. Even then, this is not going to be very nice. It's not going to be very pretty. There's not much of it. But if I am to add a bridge here, I probably want to add something like this. As long as it doesn't hit the railroad bridge, yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the gravel road. Again, any progress is progress, right? I know I say that kind of thing a lot, but any progress is progress. If we end up figuring this out here, and this is adjacent to what I wanted to do, at least. If we, shoot, what the hell? Why would I be able to connect those? This is at least adjacent to what I wanted to do, as in physically adjacent to what I wanted to do. And to that end, it makes me feel a little bit better. Oh, shoot, that's lower? Oh, wow, this bank is really low. Holy cow. What about this? Let's start with that. Let's go up just a couple feet. Now, I wasn't figuring that we would have a beach over here, but I definitely didn't expect it to be that much of a drop-off. We have our little pumping station here. And then, yeah, this can come up. So this is actually reminding me of a bridge that's over by the Hoosick Tunnel. Put in a small levee. Oh, I don't want to start messing with the water level over here. I'll mess with it more upstream. What I am going to do is I'm going to get a bridge pillar of some description. No, not that. Not a caterpillar. Has anyone made the killdozer for the thing? Sussex brick pillar. No, this is not okay. Modeled iron pins. Yeah. You know, any progress is progress. Ooh, look at this. That's a nice lift bridge. We gotta use that somewhere. Abutment for road bridge. That's way too big. We have all the BDW bridges, but we don't have, Oh, I guess we could do it like this. Which, this would be extremely cursed. Like, you wouldn't want to do this. Speaking of the killdozer, a guy by the username of Whistling Diesel is making his own version. Well, that's scary. I love how divisive the killdozer is, but I feel like on a general level, just like don't do that. Okay. Trying to make a killdozer is a great way to get yourself in sort of extremely trouble. Alright, so yeah. 1, 2, so the second one in, so 1, 2, that's this one right here. Right? Although, hold on, I can do this in Surveyor 2 and make it easier on myself. Surveyor 2. Can't recommend making another killdozer. It's a good meme, but yeah. Okay. So those are going to go there. The first hour of this stream really flew by, and now I feel like it's dragging. Which is never a good feeling. We gotta get into the Zen mode, you know? Not getting put in a watch list challenge impossible. Yeah, exactly. Don't build a killdozer. For multiple reasons. One of them being the FBI might pay you a visit. Okay. So, this is not... That is too long of a span, right? That is too many pieces. That is too much span. I think if I scoot these guys over by one set of trusses, so if I bring them to here, right, then maybe it won't look so bad. So let's put this there. And then we might actually be able to draw the bridge back by one set of trusses, like that. And that looks a lot more reasonable. And it's gutted because it's gutted. This is not an acceptable road anymore. If I want to just put like I'm just using this to smooth ground. I'm using it to make that. There's not going to be a road to it. I was tempted to make it a pedestrian-only bridge for just, like, people going from here to here, but alas. What they actually probably do now is just get stuff into a truck, and then they drive it out onto the road here, and they drive it around, and they bring it to here, and then they package it. So we have pipes in the middle of our P. So that's clearly what the P stood for. It stands for pipes. Let me respond to this. They don't have to be. Let me know what you find. Okay. Is the Factorio series done? It has one more episode. Spoilers. It has one more episode. It's almost done. And after that, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do. I should probably put out a poll for my next thing, but I did say I was going to just go back to Derail Valley. And I'd like to go back to Derail Valley. There are, you know, some things that I could do instead. They could always do like a Railroader series or something. But for the most part, I have been missing Derail Valley. Right, and Pat is bad at Uno. We can figure that out when you hear. We can test your Uno medal. I would love to see you play, what is that, KSP? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I used to play KSP. There's ancient Kerbal Space Program videos on this channel somewhere. Kerbal Space Jam. That was a great intro. I would bring that back. I probably wouldn't, actually, because the long intros are so out of favor in terms of YouTube. People just don't even tolerate them anymore. And I've always been someone who, I just kind of do my own thing, right? I don't really care, but I don't want a big long intro if people have just deemed them annoying, because they do take up a lot of space. YouTube is being annoying on its own. Space Engineers is fun in multiplayer, but you run out of stuff to do in single player. Yeah, I kind of concur with that. It's the way it is. You've got to set your own goals, you know? I've never even been on a planet in Space Engineers. I've never played that. But then again, you know, it sort of goes alongside other gaming things that have been added to games that I love and I've never done. Like, I started getting back into Kerbal. Briefly, I got back into Kerbal. I tried to make it difficult for myself. I turned off quick saves. I turned off reverting. I just did everything, sort of in the moment, and it was still too easy. I made out like I made out like a robber baron on funds and everything. I was having trouble with science, but that's because I don't know how to min-max the science in that game. It'd be interesting to do, I'll grant you that. Uh, yeah, and the modding scene is great for both Space Engineers and Kerbal. Now, Kerbal, I don't think I've run out of stuff to do. I've just... The game no longer presents a challenge to me. It's become like tedium. And I'm wondering what the easiest way... I'm wondering what the easiest way would be for me to sort of find a way to reduce the tedium. And there's a lot of things I could do. There's like realism overhauls and stuff like that where parts can fail, life support stuff. But the thing is, I don't really want to add anything to the game because I feel like I haven't experienced everything it has to offer in vanilla. I haven't. There's so much of it that I've never done. Or at least that I haven't done in a really, really long time. The most recent time that I went on my Kerbal Space Program binge, what I came across for the first time was like the placeable science. And I thought that was really neat. I thought that was super cool because it means that you can have this steady trickle of science and just keep doing your own thing, and it's good. I don't have to worry about min-maxing the science as much because I can get unlimited science given time. And yeah, career mode, having to upgrade the space center and things like that. Like, it matters. It's good. It's a well-made, well-balanced game. With a lot to do. I need to think about my own playstyle and how I am not making it fun. Because I wanted to do like big things with multi-launches and whatever. I mean, those that were around a million years ago when I did my Kerbal Space Program stuff on the channel will maybe remember the Kerbal Cruiser, which was this huge nuclear-powered rocket thing, and it ate tons of fuel, and I was going to take it all over the place, but I got bored of refueling it. And that was the end of that. So, like, I need to figure out a middle ground there, you know? I need to not do tedious launches. Part of it is my playstyle. I need to make sure that whatever I'm doing helps me out. And yeah, and Mason, what you're describing is just the regular, like, career mode. And that's the mode I would play. That's the best mode. Like, it adds all these other things, and I think doing what I did with a quasi-realistic, where everything matters, right? Playing it on hardcore, so to speak. That heightened things for me, because it made things matter. That's why I've been playing Fallout 4. And this is something that I wanted to pivot to from the beginning. I've been playing Fallout 4 on survival difficulty for the first time. It's a lot of fun. Boy, I realize what I'm learning from this is how bad I am at Fallout. But it's adding so much to the game. It's making things, properly difficult. It's making me think. It's making me build my settlements out so that I have places to land. It's making me think about my companions and, and just like every aspect, it's making me put more thought into. And I love that. Like, I'm using VATS. And before I didn't really care for it. But now it matters so much to, like, get those crits and use them. And to help me, even just to, like, help me aim and help me not panic, right? And yeah, it takes me, like, 2 hours to do a super basic go to this place and clear out the Mirelurks quest. But I am at the edge of my seat the entire time. And that's awesome. Yes, the radiation matters a lot more. Like, taking rad damage, like, every time I hear the little Geiger counter click, I'm like, no! No! Now I've got to go back to the doctor! Uh, yeah, the food and water, which I was used to because of Fallout 76. Uh, I really like how 76 handles it more than Fallout 4, but I understand that 76 was built within mind, and Fallout 4 had it sort of like strapped on to survival mode. Uh, so there's a difference there. Uh, I do like I do like how I do like the impacts of uh, running out of being thirsty and being hungry. Like that, the way that's handled, I really like, and maybe I like it more than 76. But 76 is just like, okay, I don't want to run out of food. I don't want to get to that point. When I started doing Fallout 4, it kind of annoyed me because it's like, well, I want to eat and drink before I get hungry and parched, right? Or peckish is the first level. I want to eat and drink before I get there. But I don't know when I'm going to get there. There's no, like, countdown telling me when that's going to happen. In 76, you just have the little bars in the bottom of your screen at all times that tell you how hungry and thirsty you are. It's like The Sims. Which I think is an improvement in terms of UI. But I'm not... But I really am liking the way Fallout 4 is handling being, sort of like the debuffs. Um, Avoid bug enemies because they'll give you infections. The infections are a nightmare, but it forced me to go to Diamond City, which was interesting because you start up a game of Fallout 4, you go and you wander around the wasteland. It's like, well, whatever. You're like, I'll go rescue Preston when I feel like it. I'll go to Diamond City when I feel like it. I'll do the main quest later. I'm gonna go wander around. And this, it was like, oh god, I've got lethargy or whatever. Like, let me go. Let me get to Diamond City. Let me go right now. So that I can talk to the doctor there, and I can get I can get an antibiotic and to take with me, and I can have him cure my health. It mattered. It mattered in a way that things in that game have never mattered to me up until I started playing survival. And Mason, I knew you'd get a kick out of it, because I know how much you love it, and I'm glad that you're glad that I'm getting to have this experience that you had, or have even. Okay, let's do this through here. When I said I wanted to do industries, I didn't mean scenery. I didn't. I meant doing the multiple industries and putting that stuff down. But we haven't had an update, so the UI for that stuff is still kind of effed up, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Um, I'm just gonna go make a pass down the river here and look at all the different bridges that we have, because I love this. I love this setting that we have. And this is going to be a cool spot when I'm done scenicking it. And I know this is what I was working on last time. I wanted to connect this. I wanted to fill this area in, and we've been totally distracted. I haven't even thought about it. I haven't even thought about it. How wild is that? I forgot that's what I was doing last time. Okay. Let's fill this in here. And then, actually, I'm going to throw in a crossing board on the middle here. Oh, hey, look, crossing board. Nope. It's up here. JR Woodgrade crossing, right here. No poop chute for the water treatment plant. So, you've got these pipes, they just go into the ground. I will probably put in some kind of outlet over here. That's something I've got to get to. I've got to actually, like, do this area up. I just grabbed this really nice water treatment plant asset. And then I have these two things, which are sort of thematically there, but okay. I don't really know how to texture this area in here. That's what I'm struggling with. I'm actually, like, my eyelids are getting heavy, and I don't know why. We've been at this for 2.5. We've still got time to go, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish it tonight. I don't know if we're going to have the full length. Might have to just go lie down. I do have to get up early tomorrow. I'm going to drive to Connecticut, so. Yeah, there's that. I feel like this was a good episode, though. We got a lot of work done. Dispensed some wisdom. Talked about a lot of things. This has been fun. Yeah, oh, man. I just got hit by a wave of something, and I don't think I can sit here for much longer. So, I think with that, I will just wrap it up. We've got 2.5 hours of work done. Two and a half solid hours of work done with no detours. So that's good. I'll see you next week. This is the Admiral.